technology, right? So as I was saying, for everyone who is brand new from our Charleston, South Carolina training class, welcome. And I do this once a month where I have an expert come on with our Facebook Lives and let us know what is working for them in the field. So you can see I just got back from the farm with the kids. It's a little bit more casual than our live that we do on the nutraMetrix fan page once a month. So we do have a few different live opportunities. So I am going to have our expert on with us. It is Jen Eberle. Jen works in the mental health field, which is so appropriate. Hey, Jen, there you are. So, Jen, I was just telling them a little bit about you, that you are a licensed professional clinical counselor. You own your own mental health private practice. You're in North Dakota. You work with kids. You can hear my little kid maybe in the background. And you were recently awarded 2018 Outstanding Mental Health Counselor from the North Dakota Mental Health Counselors Association. So congratulations for that, Jen.
Thank you.
So Jen, I wanted to just chat with you a little bit because I am super inspired. So I want to tell them why I wanted to talk to you, but then I want to first, we'll give a little bit of background, but I'm super inspired about what you're doing on Facebook. So that is why I brought you onto this Facebook Live. So for everyone that's watching, I mean, I think that Facebook is, and all social media platforms, in my opinion, have been a really great way to connect communities to our missions with healthcare. So, let's just start though with what attracted you to nutraMetrix. You've been in with Market America since 2015. So you're a master coordinator. So you're moving and shaking. So what is, how are you fitting that all into what you're doing?
Well, I really found Market America and nutraMetrix through, it was kind of an accident. I didn't really even know much about this world of non-medication ways of, addressing mental health. I was actually in a conference and I saw Val Myers speaking, and she was talking about how she was using this with children. And I've always worked with children like my whole career. So I was really interested in what she was doing, and I had never heard of anything like this before. I mean, this was like the first time I had heard people talking about using nutrition to address problems with mental health. Like, it just wasn't even in our industry. We never even talked about it. I never even asked people what they ate. Like, It was just not even a thought. So when I heard her speak, I knew I wanted to do that someday. But I was in an agency where that wasn't really the mindset on where they wanted to go, and they weren't really interested in changing their thought process, which we find a lot in the mental health field, is that we get some kickback from people who want to kick it old school and like, nope, we only do talk therapy. We don't ask people about what they're eating. We don't ask them about their pooping or anything to do with the gut. That's definitely a no-no. And so I knew, I was like, I want to do this. I want to learn how Val did it. And so I connected with Val and just asked her, will you mentor me? And she's like, oh yeah, this is like a business. Like, it's a part of your business. And so it became, this evolving thing into my practice. And it really changed how I talk to people in my profession. It changed how I train my employees on how they should talk to their clients to get more of a whole picture. Because, we were really trained to compartmentalize mental health. Like, somehow mental health is different than everything else in your body, right? Like, we make it something that you can control, but that's why we call it behavioral health. Like, you control your thoughts, and so therefore you control your mental health. But that's not necessarily true, because we now know a lot more about biology and what's really going on in the body and how that's impacting mental health. So that was a huge mind shift, not only for myself, but it is in the field, and it's coming up more and more and more. Like, I see it in the trainings, they're talking about it more. People are becoming more interested in it, but it's still kind of slow. I think Market America is so ahead of the game that in the trainings that we get, like even the trainings that I'm watching through my regular counseling trainings, some of their science is still a little slow. That, our our science is so, and we just have phenomenal trainers
We do.
and staff that are out there talking to us about biology, and what's going on in the body. And so I find myself correcting in my head, well, actually, that this trainer said this wrong. That's not correct. Like Dr. D wouldn't agree with that. And so it's interesting
Dr.
because
D
that's
is a
how
really
educated
high
we are.
standard, though. She's a really high, she sets
Yeah.
the bar for everything else we're doing. Yeah.
Absolutely. So it changed my practice, and I really couldn't imagine going back. I mean, it
You
was a
can't.
whole mind shift. It was amazing.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so,
Know
yeah.
better, you do better. I mean, that's just what happens. I was
Yeah.
crazy talking with Jonathan Kirkendall last night on our nutraMetrix fan page.
Yeah.
What did he say? I mean, was it 90% of serotonin is made in the gut?
Yes.
I
In the
mean,
gut.
that's crazy. I mean, and that's the happy hormone right there.
Yeah.
So,
And to
all right.
think with
Yeah. No,
depression,
go
we
ahead.
were just doing talk therapy. Like
Wow.
how effective is that we're just telling people to talk it out and, try to do things differently and you'll feel better. But that's not what matches with what he was saying, right? And so
Yeah.
we were doing it wrong for so long, or we were just not we're not
We just didn't
informed.
know. You didn't know.
We didn't know,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. Crazy.
Right.
So tell me a little bit. I mean, so congratulations for, swimming
Thank
against
you.
the stream, for going, because it can't be easy. I mean, there's, they tell that story about the monkeys that tried to get the bananas at the top of the pole, and that they would hose them down, and then they
Yeah.
introduced some new monkeys, and the new monkeys were like, no, don't go to the top of the pole, but like nothing would happen to those new monkeys. So you sound like you're one of those new monkeys in the mental
Right.
health field, and I'm sure there's people yelling at you, and like you said, you're getting some pushback from some other providers who are saying, just talk it out, it's all good, don't ask people about poop and exercise and nutrition and sleep. And but I mean, you just don't know. I mean, hello, please. I look at, I have an advertising background, marketing background, and you look at old-fashioned ads where they would say that cigarette brands were the #1 recommended brand by providers, right? And they'd have a picture of a doctor like with a pretty lady lighting up her smoke. That wasn't that
Right.
long ago in the scheme of
Right.
things. I mean, I think that was just 2 generations ago. So, I mean, we'll look at, I'm sure, what we're doing now and say, wow, can you even believe it?
Right. That was old school.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, it just takes people moving and shaking. And again, I think that when you're so boldly you, I think this is my message, whether there's, health professionals on this live, or whether you're a nutraMetrix consultant. My opinion is that when you're so boldly you repel the people who don't align with your message, and you attract the right people. You become a magnet for them.
Absolutely.
Social media is that microphone for our messages, for our passion. You're doing this right now in a Facebook group, which Facebook groups are my favorite social media place to play. That's where I spend most of my effort. So tell everyone a little bit about your group, why you decided to start it, and what's going on with that.
So our group is called Health is Wealth, Lunch and Learns. And this idea, it kind of came from a few different places. Like, Pam Treverson, I remember talking to her at my first convention in Greensboro, and she was kind of, giving me ideas for my clinic. Like, people want little doses of information, and this is a way you could deliver that through Facebook. And so that kind of wheeled those ideas of like, a lunch and learn, or just using Facebook Lives for like these little snippets of information. And then as we were talking as a team, the team was like, how do we get people to get this information in the summer? Because it's, especially in North Dakota, like our summers are sacred. Like we do not like time away from the lake or our families or just the sun in general. So getting people to the information, and so we could still keep providing these services and helping people. And it just kind of evolved into doing lunch and learns. Initially, it was like trying to get people to our house at lunch, but then again, people are busy. And I think that's where Facebook is so awesome to market our businesses, because people are on Facebook on their lunch hours anyway, a lot of the times. I mean, as a mental health provider, what do I think about that? And, it's self-care, but it's still where people are at. So we're meeting people where they're at. And that's truly where I think we have to start, is where are your people and what are they doing anyway? So all they have to do is hop over to a lunch and learn, or if it's being recorded, I know a lot of people, because you can see the comments after something's recorded. A lot of people are just going on in their free time, and maybe that's in the evening when the kids are in bed and they're finally getting this little snippet of information. And we're getting really good feedback on this is helping people. Like, sometimes things get overwhelming, or even if they're sitting in my session, it's like I'm giving them information, but they're so like deer in the headlights, like, whoa, you just said something so different than I've ever heard about. I don't know what you're talking about, And so it helps when we have other people. Some are just everyday people that are just trying products and talking about the solutions. And then some people are health professionals. And so they're kind of edifying what we're talking about. And I think that helps too, that they're seeing, this doesn't have to be complicated. It's got to be simple. And that's what we try to make it, is really simple and to the stories. Our topics are things like weight loss, non-chemical cleaning. This week is digestive health. So many people that come in don't want to admit, but they're constipated, or they have IBS, or, it's just amazing how many people just live in silence because they're kind of embarrassed and they don't really think it matters. Right. And it matters. It's huge. And so we're trying to pick topics that people ask us a lot about. Like, we have one coming up, how to eat healthy in rural North Dakota, because we don't have great grocery stores here. I mean, some grocery stores are a convenience store, and they might have some vegetables. I mean, so if they can do it, anybody can do it. And that's kind of the whole message, that these things don't have to be huge changes, just very simple. But you have to be creative, and sometimes just brainstorming, hearing other people's stories, hearing their solutions. It's like, oh yeah, well, I could do that. Like, I could order food from Schwann's and get healthy food. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, that's really what it evolved into. And now it's solely online, because then we can use our resources in Bismarck and in the cities. We had Renee Carlson there, who's watching. Hey, Renee. And she, so it's kind of cool that through Facebook we get to connect all these professionals, and we get to have this discussion and this panel of here's how we practice and where we're at. And that's cool. Like, even just hearing people on the East Coast, how they're practicing, that's awesome, because here in North Dakota, we're a little behind, I think. Pretty traditional.
No, I think you're super progressive out there. But
that's why we kind of blow people away with what we're doing, because they're like, whoa, like, this is not traditional mainstream North Dakota. We kind of stick to the same old, same old. But it's nice for them to hear these are how other people are practicing, and so it's not just like we're crazy, we're making this up.
You're not crazy. You guys are awesome. All right, so let me just get the logistics down. So you created a Facebook group, and when you go live once a week?
Yep. Okay. Once a week.
Same day, same time? Is it like your favorite TV show? Okay, because that's, I think, that's how people like to tune into things. They like to know it's coming on this date at this time.
Absolutely.
And then you're doing guests, and you're doing side by side, just like we are right now on Facebook.
Yep.
Awesome. And so just tell me, what did you plug into the nationwide health and wellness Facebook group that we did and we created? Yes. And did that kind of inspire you guys, or where did your inspiration come from?
I think that's where some of the content and the style came from. Just that, how you guys interview or talk to each other, it's more of a discussion. And I think it makes it easier for people to understand that, because like, when you ask questions about what other people would normally ask, that's what people want to hear. They really just want to hear the answers to the questions, not so much of the jargon of what we say or what, as professionals we might be talking about. They just, they want to hear.
It's much different than the webinar, I find too, where we don't have to get fancy. You don't have to get slides. You can hold things up if you want to. I find it's very QVC style. I think it's like, QVC combined with technology, that's what I just love about it. And I mean, I don't know about you, Jen, but I literally could watch QVC all the time.
Yeah.
And that is my guilty pleasure. Like I always stop on that and I'm like, maybe I do need that jewelry. Didn't even know I needed that, but that mop seems like it's going to save my life. Yeah. So I'm a total like bargain person too. So how many people, let's start with how many weeks have you been doing this now?
Okay, we are on this will be our fourth week.
Fourth week.
Friday. Yep.
Okay, so you've had a different person that you've interviewed every single week.
Yep.
And how many people do you have in the group in just 4 weeks?
Oh gosh, I think it's over 1,300 now. I mean, it changes daily, but it's around 1,300.
That is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs crazy.
Yeah.
Like, do you guys, I don't even know if the people who are on this Facebook Live right now understand what it is like to build a community of 1,300 people in 1 month. 1 month.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
And at least 1,200 of those people were probably within the first week or two.
Right.
I mean, it totally blew up. And I was a little panicky of like, what just happened?
Yeah. Jen, how much money did you spend to create an audience of 1,300? Zero. $0.
Nothing. I have put no money into this.
No money. So like when I do wellness 101s at my house, I usually, get a couple snacks, maybe open a couple bottles of wine. Like it minimum cost me like $100. Yeah. I usually have a cleaning lady and I usually want to like kill my entire family the day before and I'm so exhausted the day after. Does that happen when you do a Facebook Live over your lunch hour? No.
Nope. I'm like eating something real quick and then checking my teeth and upping my makeup, making sure.
I forgot lipstick for this Facebook
Live. Ready to
Live.
go. And then, we just pop on and we just talk. I mean, that's the point. We just talk for maybe half an hour. I think some of them get a little bit long, the more speakers you have, but typically they're about 30 minutes and that's what we want to stick it to because people, like when I'm watching a webinar, you got about 30 minutes of my attention. And then after that, I'm kind of like, I got stuff to do, especially on their lunch hour. So, we're definitely trying to keep it within that time frame. And we start at 12:10 because of that. Like we wanted people to, sit down with their lunch. And if it starts too early, then, they're like, I already missed 10 minutes of it. It's too late. So hopefully it's just giving people a little bit of time to get set up and get their phone ready and eat their lunch.
What's been the result so far? Have you seen an increase in product sales? Any new interest in the business?
I know I personally have always had at least one person either follow up with me, order something, they're asking more questions. I can tell in my other organizations there's more steady flow of volume. It's getting my people in my team to order product. Because some of these products we've talked about, they're like, I didn't know about that. I didn't know about the snap pack and what's all in that. That sounds awesome. I want that. And now they're ordering snap packs, and so it's been good for, not just my team and our guests, but like for everybody. I mean,
that happened to me. I was in Ocean City, Maryland doing the breakout presentation and I had worked with Dr. Mason on it. And I'm doing a presentation about the ingredient Flora Glow in our Prime Vision. And it like occurred to me, like I've never ordered it and tried it. So I myself, I mean, sometimes even when you present on a product, you become more committed to it.
Right.
So it's all good, guys. So since Mideast Regional, I've been taking my Flora Glow religiously. No, it's really good. Do you think, Jen, that this is something that everyone can duplicate? And are you preaching that to your team members?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I think people need to be on Facebook. If you aren't utilizing your Facebook, you're really missing out on a really free opportunity to gain customers.
Yeah.
Even people, I should say, not everybody's necessarily ordered. Not everybody's necessarily gotten onto every webinar. But even the people who wanted to be added to the group, those are people for me. I'm like, I would have never asked them to be a part of this group. And so it kind of adds to your bean jar, if you will, of people who are interested in health at some point. Like
Totally.
I literally gave them no information about what this group was going to be about, and people went crazy. And I was like, I hadn't even figured it out yet exactly at that point what it was going to be, but it was like health is wealth. That's all they needed
That's
to
it.
know. They didn't care, and anything that was in that, they wanted to hear it. So, yeah, I tell my team, you have to utilize Facebook. You have to have a presence and you have to have branding, because I can't tell you how many people have lost customers because they came to me because they see, oh, Jen is, this is what Jen does. She talks about mental health, but also wellness on her Facebook all the time. And they don't. They're just,
Right.
posting just pictures of family, which you have to do too. I mean, you have to
Gotta
have that
do
80,
both.
20% rule, but they're not posting anything about their business, and that I think is a loss. It's a
Right.
lost opportunity. So I do preach to them. You got to at least put some things out there about what you're doing and invite
Yeah.
people to these events. Don't just add them. You have to invite them. You have to talk to them.
I'll tell you a couple other things that I think that's magical about a Facebook group is some people aren't comfortable going live yet on their Facebook pages. They're not comfortable to their friends, their family, their,
Yeah,
college friends, their high school friends, people that they work with. I think a Facebook group, there is some sort of privacy there, especially some of the topics you said you're bringing up, like bowel movements. We might
right.
not want to talk about that in a public forum, but you might feel a little bit more comfortable, which has been my experience.
Yes.
I'm not always willing to post things on general public sites, but when it comes to a private forum like this, I find there's a little bit more protection. The other
Mm-hmm.
thing I think is that now we know, right, that it's not Jen who's like just hawking snake oil, out of her black back closet. Like,
Right.
you have a whole bunch of experts. It's a great health professional focus. I think that sets us apart from other companies and right off
Absolutely.
the bat. And it really elevates you as an expert. So, I mean, Jen, you're amazing. I mean, you have degrees, you have a practice, you have awards that are given to you. I always feel total like, who am I? Like, I'm just Sarah. I mean, I got
Right.
a advertising degree, and but surrounding myself and being like, hey, I'm Sarah, meet my friends, has been
Exactly.
really helpful for me. People think I'm an expert by association. So I just play a
Yeah.
doctor on TV, is what I tell everyone. That's it.
But I also think, to kind of piggyback off of that, the momentum that you get from hearing professionals talk about this, and then you hear people's stories, and then you see people's comments about their testimonials, what this did for their family, how this changed your life. I mean, that's the other part, is in between, we're keeping the momentum going by putting on testimonials and stories and things like that. And that gets people excited. And there's nothing more that gets me excited than people getting excited about taking charge of their mental health and their physical health. I
So
mean, if that's
important.
what's going to give them the push to actually do something about it and order something that would help them or make a lifestyle change, I'm all for that. So the momentum you get and people's excitement on the pages that we get from the team and from everybody, it's incredible. I mean,
Yeah,
it's like people love it. And I think that's what keeps people plugging back in, because they're like, ooh,
awesome.
I really liked how that felt when I did that, seeing all people's comments, and it's so positive.
I know.
So
And it's
it's
cool too
cool.
when you can like shout out, like right now we have Hey Kim and Beth Black is
Yeah.
on and
Julie was on.
Blanca and David and Julie. Hey Julie. Hey Aubrey. People really like that. They like to be, called out. They like to know. They like the comments. It becomes really fun. One thing,
Mhm.
Jen, that we're doing with nutraMetrix is we're just trying to make it easier for you guys to have a theme and stick with it. So just for everyone to know, what we're doing now is we're going to have quarterly. We're going to have a quarterly focus. So this quarter, it was brain health. And so you'll see the banner on our nutraMetrix page was all about brain health. And that's a
Mhm.
banner. If you're running a group like this, you can use that banner. If you noticed all of our posts, those are all from Betsy in our office. So thank you, Betsy, for doing that for us. Lots of posts about ingredients, lots of posts about products. Again, all about brain health. I interviewed an expert on nutraMetrix last night, Jonathan Kirkendall. licensed professional counselor, all about nutrients for brain health. So that's something that people can share and post. And then next quarter, it's going to be all skin health. So we're going to talk about ways to stay healthy, beauty from the inside out, how your insides affects your outsides. And so that's something we just want to make it easy for people to potentially copycat what we're doing, so no one's reinventing the wheel.
Love that.
Yeah, and so we have very consistent messaging. We can all kind of rally around different products, dig in for like a full quarter, and then gain momentum. So, I mean, and I think it's great. I mean, if you end up, because you're going to have a different focus. You're not, you know, you don't run a medical aesthetics practice.
Right.
You don't run, but, you know, I know that definitely my self-esteem is affected by, you know, I have a pimple on my face and I don't want to go out of the house, right? And so, you know, this can all tie in together with whatever everyone's focus is too. So
absolutely.
Jen, we totally
skin, so
we do. I mean, it's our biggest organ. It's we show more of it in the summer. We think it's yeah. And I appreciate your time, because I know you're still a busy clinician at the end of the day. Is there anything else you want to leave everyone with as a thought?
I think, you know, especially with Facebook, I think Facebook is all about telling a story. And that's what I would really, you know, I watch Ryan Stack and Sarah Stack religiously on what they market on Facebook. And so they kind of helped me figure out like my style on Facebook. And what I have found with these groups is people want to know the stories. And so, you know, to keep it light on so much of the jargon and information, like that's good too. But people love stories. They want to hear how this impacted people. It wants to connect with them emotionally. So that would be my other add-in, is like just to keep it to telling those testimonials and how this like impacted someone. So
perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you for being on. I love your group. I hope that everyone duplicates what you're doing, because really we all need to just do whatever Bismarck, North Dakota is doing, is in my opinion. So love you guys. All right, well, I'll see you in Greensboro, Jen.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.